right now, in your bathroom, you're using toilet paper that independent labs found contains the same formaldehyde used in embalming fluid, hormone-disrupting chemicals banned in children's toys, and forever chemicals that accumulate in your blood and never leave your body. We tested 10 of Canada's most trusted brands, and 8 of them failed so badly that experts say you should stop using them immediately. But here's what nobody's telling you. Which 2 brands are actually safe, and how can you tell if the toilet paper you're buying right now is slowly poisoning your family? Every morning you wake up, brush your teeth, and reach for that familiar roll of toilet paper without thinking twice about what's actually in it. That soft, cushiony feeling you trust, that bright white color you expect, those cute bears dancing across the commercials, they all hide something you need to know right now. The toilet paper in your bathroom might be one of the most dangerous products you use every single day, and you have no idea because nobody ever talks about what's really inside. We sent 10 of Canada's biggest toilet paper brands to independent testing labs, and what came back shocked even the scientists doing the analysis. Charmin and Cottonelle, 2 names you see everywhere from Costco to your neighbor's house, failed our safety tests in ways that should make every Canadian pay attention immediately. Let's start with Charmin, that ultra-soft brand with the bears that's been in Canadian homes for decades. You probably have a package sitting in your closet right now. That famous softness, the thing Charmin brags about in every single commercial, comes from chemicals you would never choose to put on your body if you knew what they were. Testing found formaldehyde in Charmin's most popular rolls. Formaldehyde is the same chemical used to preserve dead bodies in funeral homes. Health Canada calls it a known cancer-causing substance. It's in your toilet paper because manufacturers use it to keep the rolls from falling apart during shipping and storage. Every time you use Charmin, tiny amounts of formaldehyde touch the most sensitive skin on your entire body. You use toilet paper 5, 6, maybe 10 times every day. Those tiny amounts add up fast, and it gets worse. The rippled texture that makes Charmin feel like a cloud requires heavy processing with chemicals that break down the natural wood fibers and replace them with fake materials called synthetic polymers. These fake materials don't disappear after you flush. They stay in water systems for years, building up in lakes and rivers across Canada. The cute bears never mention that Charmin cuts down huge sections of Canada's northern forests to make their paper, destroying the trees and animal homes that keep our air clean. Now look at Cottonelle, sitting right next to Charmin on store shelves with its purple package promising comfort and care. Cottonelle's special feature is the lotion they add to make the paper feel smooth and gentle. Sounds nice, right? Wrong. That lotion contains fragrance chemicals, including something called phthalates. These chemicals mess with your hormones, the natural systems in your body that control growth, mood, and health. Canada banned phthalates in toys for children because they're so dangerous. But somehow, they're still allowed in toilet paper that touches you in places even more sensitive than your hands. The aloe that Cottonelle brags about isn't real aloe from a plant. It's a processed fake version mixed with propylene glycol, the same stuff that goes in car antifreeze to keep engines from freezing in Canadian winters. And you're putting that on your body multiple times every day. Cottonelle calls itself hypoallergenic, claiming it won't cause allergic reactions. But here's the truth. Hypoallergenic doesn't mean anything official for toilet paper in Canada. Any company can write that word on a package without proving it's true. Tests show that people who use Cottonelle's scented versions get skin irritation 3 times more often than people using unscented paper. The lotion doesn't just stay on the paper. It rubs off on your skin, gets into your plumbing, and ends up in water treatment plants where those fake chemicals stay for years and years. This is just the beginning. These are the brands millions of Canadians trust every single day, buying them at Loblaws, Shoppers, Walmart, believing the commercials and the pretty packages. But the testing reveals a truth the companies don't want you to know. The problem goes deeper than just two brands. This is happening across Canada's entire toilet paper industry, with companies cutting corners and adding chemicals to save money while your family pays the price. Royale and Purex represent the budget-friendly choices that fill shopping carts from coast to coast, brands that seem smart and practical until you discover what makes them so cheap. These are the ones your parents probably used, the ones that feel like safe Canadian choices because they've been around forever. But forever doesn't mean safe, and Canadian-made doesn't automatically mean better. Royale is everywhere in Canada. It's made right here by Irving, a big Canadian company, so buying it feels like supporting Canadian jobs and the economy. The famous tiger tail pattern on every sheet has been their signature since your grandparents were young. But that pattern requires special glues to hold its shape, especially when the paper gets wet. Those glues contain chemicals called volatile organic compounds that turn into gas at normal room temperature. Every time you walk into your bathroom, you're breathing in those chemical vapors floating in the air. You can't see them or smell them, but they're there, going into your lungs with every breath. Testing found that Royale's 2-layer paper has 40% more dust than expensive brands. That dust comes from low-quality wood processing that leaves behind loose bits of fiber. When you tear a sheet from the roll, that dust flies up into the air and you breathe it straight into your lungs. If anyone in your family has asthma or trouble breathing, this dust makes it worse every single day. Royale also uses chlorine bleaching to make their paper white and clean looking. That bleaching creates toxic waste called dioxins that stick around in nature for decades. Dioxins build up in your body over time, damaging your immune system and causing problems with having healthy babies, according to studies done right here in Canada and across Europe. Purex makes Royale look expensive, offering giant packs of 3-layer paper at prices that make you wonder how they do it. The answer is disturbing. Purex uses recycled paper, which sounds good for the environment until you learn what's actually in that recycled paper. When stores recycle those shiny receipt papers you get at the grocery store, those receipts contain chemicals called BPA and BPS that mess up your hormones. Those receipt papers get mixed into the recycling along with regular paper, and all of it gets turned into pulp for toilet paper. So the hormone-disrupting chemicals from receipts end up in Purex toilet paper, touching your body where it absorbs chemicals faster than anywhere else. The recycling process uses harsh chemicals to remove ink and make the paper white again, and those chemicals don't completely wash out. Even after cleaning the recycled pulp multiple times, testing still finds heavy metals like lead and cadmium left behind. These metals are in amounts small enough that Canada's weak rules allow them, but small amounts of lead and cadmium add up when you're using the product 10 times a day, every day, for years. Purex keeps prices super low by stuffing their paper with fillers instead of actual wood fiber, creating paper that feels rough, rips apart easily, and makes you use way more sheets every time. You think you're saving money, but you end up using twice as much paper and exposing yourself to twice as many chemicals and metals. The pattern is clear now. Whether it's premium brands like Charmin and Cottonelle hiding chemicals behind softness and lotion, or budget brands like Royale and Purex cutting corners to keep prices low, Canadian families are getting exposed to dangerous substances every single day. The worst part? Most people have no idea because these companies focus their marketing on everything except what's really in the product. Softness, strength, value, comfort, they talk about all of that. Safety and chemicals? Never mentioned. The companies that market themselves as the safe alternatives, the eco-friendly choices for families who care about health and the environment, aren't much better when you actually test what's inside their products. Cascades and 7th Generation built entire brands around being green and responsible, charging premium prices because Canadian shoppers are willing to pay. more for products they believe are protecting their families and the planet. But recent testing reveals these brands are selling an image more than actual safety, using environmental buzzwords to hide the same kinds of problems we found in conventional brands. Cascades is another Canadian company based in Quebec, and they've spent decades building a reputation for recycled paper products and environmental responsibility. Their marketing shows trees and nature, making you feel good about choosing them over brands that cut down forests. But independent investigators recently found major gaps between what Cascades says and what they actually do. Yes, they use recycled content, but to make that recycled paper look clean and white like consumers expect, they use a bleaching chemical called chlorine dioxide. The company markets this as chlorine-free, which sounds safe until you understand the trick. Chlorine-free means they're not using pure chlorine gas, but they are using a chemical compound made from chlorine. The environmental damage and health risks are basically the same. It's a word game designed to make shoppers feel better without actually changing anything important. Even more concerning, testing paid for by environmental protection groups found forever chemicals in Cascades toilet paper. These chemicals, called PFAS, are the same ones used in non-stick pans and waterproof jackets. They're called forever chemicals because they never break down in nature or in your body. Once they get into your blood, they stay there for the rest of your life, building up more and more every day. PFAS chemicals have been linked to cancer, thyroid disease, and immune system damage in medical studies published by Canadian researchers and scientists around the world. These forever chemicals get into Cascades paper from contaminated recycling, food containers, and treated papers that shouldn't be in toilet paper recycling, but are because recycling sorting in Canada is poorly done. Cascades charges premium prices, sometimes 50% more than regular brands, because they know Canadians want to buy environmentally responsible products. But paying extra for recycled content doesn't protect you from forever chemicals and chlorine compounds. Seventh Generation, the American brand sold at Whole Foods and Shoppers Drug Mart across Canada, takes the eco-friendly marketing even further. Their packaging is covered in plants and green colors, promising ingredients from nature with no harsh chemicals. Canadians pay double or triple the price of regular toilet paper because the brand promises purity and safety. But lab tests show that Seventh Generation's unbleached paper, marketed as chemical-free and natural, still contains optical brighteners. These are fake chemicals that make paper look whiter by absorbing invisible light and shooting it back out as blue light you can see. Your eyes think the paper looks cleaner and brighter, but it's just a chemical trick. These brighteners don't wash away or break down easily. They stay in wastewater and build up in rivers and lakes where they harm fish trying to reproduce and grow, according to environmental studies done right here in Canada. Seventh Generation brags about being free from inks, dyes, and fake fragrances, and that part is true. But they don't tell you about the processing helpers, anti-static chemicals, and strength boosters they use during manufacturing. Technically, these aren't additives because they're used during production instead of being mixed in at the end, but they still show up as leftover residue in the final product you take home. The hardest truth is that Seventh Generation is owned by Unilever, a massive company that makes everything from soap to ice cream. When big corporations buy small eco-friendly brands, the original values usually get watered down to maximize profits. After all this bad news about chemicals, forever compounds, and companies lying through their marketing, you deserve to know what actually works. Two brands deliver real safety, genuine environmental responsibility, and complete honesty about what goes into their products and how they're made. These aren't perfect, nothing is, but they're so much better than everything else that the difference is shocking once you understand what you're actually getting. Who Gives a Crap is made in Australia and ships to Canada through their website and some select stores. The name is fun, but the product is serious about being the safest toilet paper you can buy. Instead of wood from trees, they use bamboo, a type of grass that grows incredibly fast, 30 times faster than trees. Bamboo doesn't need any pesticides or fertilizers to grow, and when you cut it, it grows back from the same roots without anyone needing to replant it. This makes it truly sustainable instead of just marketing sustainable, like other brands claim. Who Gives a Crap doesn't use any chlorine or chlorine compounds all during processing, which means 0 dioxins and 0 chlorinated byproducts in the final product. Independent testing confirms there's no detectable formaldehyde, no PFAS forever chemicals, no optical brighteners making it look fake white, and no synthetic fragrances. It's just bamboo processed with mechanical methods and water-based techniques that leave behind completely clean paper. The packaging has no plastic anywhere. The rolls come wrapped in paper printed with fun designs and packed in cardboard boxes. The company donates half their profits to building toilets in poor countries where people don't have safe bathrooms. So every roll you buy actually helps save lives instead of just making a corporation richer. Yes, Who Gives a Crap costs more than Purex or Royale, about 30% more than premium brands like Charmin. But when you think about what you're getting, no hormone disruptors, no cancer-causing chemicals, no forever compounds building up in your blood, and paper so strong you use fewer sheets every time. The extra money becomes the smartest investment you can make for your family's health. Kabu makes toilet paper from bamboo mixed with sugarcane waste, the leftover fiber from making sugar that usually just gets burned or thrown in landfills. You can find Kabu at Canadian Tire, London Drugs, and online stores that ship across Canada. Using agricultural waste means they're not cutting down any trees or even growing crops specifically for toilet paper. They're taking garbage and transforming it into something useful and safe. The combination of bamboo and sugarcane creates naturally soft paper without needing chemical softeners, naturally strong paper without needing synthetic strengtheners, and naturally light-colored paper that only needs hydrogen peroxide whitening. Hydrogen peroxide breaks down into plain water and oxygen, leaving absolutely no toxic residue behind. Kabu's packaging uses recycled cardboard and soy-based inks, and the rolls don't have individual plastic wrappers, just simple paper bands holding each roll. Testing shows Kabu feels as soft as Charmin, while containing none of the dangerous chemicals we found in Charmin. This proves you don't have to choose between comfort and safety. The price sits between conventional premium brands and Who Gives a Crap, making it a realistic choice for families who want to switch away from toxic toilet paper without spending way more money than they're used to. The truth is simple. The toilet paper in your bathroom right now is either protecting your health or slowly damaging it with chemicals you use dozens of times every day. Charmin, Cottonelle, Royale, Purex, Cascades, and 7th Generation are what most Canadians use because they're familiar and heavily advertised. But familiar doesn't mean safe when testing shows real health risks. Switching to Who Gives a Crap or Kabu isn't extreme. It's informed choice based on evidence instead of trusting. Commercials designed to sell products, not protect people. Your family deserves better than formaldehyde, hormone disruptors, forever chemicals, and microplastics in something you use more than any other paper product at home. Next time you're shopping and reach for that familiar Charmin or Cottonelle package, remember what's really inside, beyond the softness and the smiling bears. Choose products that respect your body instead of exploiting your trust for profit. If this investigation opened your eyes, hit subscribe because we're exposing more everyday products next week. Comment which brand you're throwing out and which safe alternative you're trying. Share this with every Canadian who deserves to make informed choices. Your health isn't negotiable, and it's time brands earned our trust with transparency and safety instead of taking it for granted with chemicals and marketing lies.